Today we're making velvety baubles, just like these. And how cute they are. Perfect for this Christmas. Look, beautiful. I'm gonna be making three sizes. This is size 10 centimeter, an 8 centimeter, and a 6 centimeter. And I'll show you the list of materials. Baking soda. This is what's gonna make the velvety effect on the bauble. You also need different types of sizes of your plastic bubbles. This is the one that does not separate, so just making sure that is completely sealed. And I have, like I said, three sizes. We're gonna be working with a 10 centimeter, 8 centimeter, and a 6 centimeter. You also need a container for your baking soda, and once we paint the bubbles, we're going to be sprinkling the baking soda on the bubble before the paint dries. Because we're going to be doing using paint, we need paintbrush. One is for the paint and the other one is to brush off the residue after your bubbles dry. And last but not least, the paint, acrylic paint. Preferably, I'm using the Artico acrylic paint. And the colors that I'm going this Christmas is sage green, um, some type of vanilla color, and then taupe. And I'm going to be mixing these with white so they won't be too dark for my Christmas theme this year. You also need containers, little containers in which you can put your paint, and also work with that to paint your bubbles. Maybe a cup of water to clean your brushes, and a big surface to let your bubbles dry. So let's get to it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add baking soda. This is from the first batch that I used. I'm just gonna add a little bit more to this to be able to, well, just enough to cover my bubbles. There we go. And you can also save this, put it back in your container to use it again. Just make sure you label this as craft so you don't use it in your kitchen or when you're cooking. All right, so I'm going to start with the vanilla color. I am going to add just a little bit of this yellow ochre. Just a little bit, but enough to make enough to have enough paint for all of my bubbles. There we go. I'll put this back so my paint doesn't dry. Sometimes your paint dries. Otherwise, you can put a plastic wrapping plastic on it and then close your lid. And we're going to add lots of white. Okay. So now we get a mix. I might need just a tiny bit of brown. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta eyeball it to see if the color you have chosen is the right one. All right, yep, I think that's it. So my vanilla color is ready. It looks a little more yellow on the screen, but it's actually a very light fluffy color. Okay, the next step is to actually take the holders from the bubbles. Just take them out. and then just start painting. Start painting your bubbles. You can hold right here, or you can add, you can get some sort of holder that you can make. But for me, I'm just gonna hold it right here on the top of the neck of the bubble, and then I'm gonna put a generous amount of paint and start from the top, going my way down. And just work quickly because we don't want the paint to dry, because otherwise the baking soda or the bicarbonate will not adhere to the paint. And that's what we want. We want it to adhere to the paint because that's that will make the effect of a velvety effect on the bauble. It's nice, even coat. Just like this. Try to look if there's any spots that you need to put any more paint. Just like so. Here we go. Right, I feel like that is good enough to me. Maybe just a little bit more on the top. Here in the bottom. Okay, so now it's time to add our baking soda to it. So just go in and sprinkle all over. Just don't touch your bubble, otherwise the paint is going to move. I'll just put it in here, turn it around. If you find that your container is too small, you can pause and get a bigger container. A bigger container will probably help. This is a very cheap way of making your ornaments look like velvet. And I feel like if you experiment with paint and bicarbonate, you can make maybe paint some cardboard and use the same technique to make velvety cardboard ornaments. Feel like that is good. I'm gonna tap it off to get rid of the excess. And now the trick is to let it dry completely. So I'm gonna hold my bubble very gently on the bottom, and I'm going to set it on the opening of the bubble, balance it, and that's how I make sure that my bubble doesn't roll. All right, so I'm making one of each color on the 10 centimeter. Now I'm going to make 2 in 8 centimeter and then 3 in 6 centimeter. And I'm going to pass forward this process because it's just too long. Alright, so my vanilla color bubbles are getting to dry. And I noticed that I have some paint left over that I want to use. So I'm going to try something new. I'm going to make a swirly velvet design, and I have this 1/4 inch masking tape, and I'm going to use a bubble and see if this is going to work. But I'm gonna tape this around in an angle from here going around to the middle, and then I'm going to paint my bubble and then use the baking soda again to see if that's going to make it more of a different design for my bubbles. So let's cross our fingers and see that this will work. So I'm going to start from the top in an angle. Press. And there you go. Hopefully that will work. I'm going to break it. Something like this. I'm going to start again. Again, I'm completely experimenting with this. See, you can experiment with whatever you like, and hopefully this is going to turn out all right. I think I'm gonna do one more. Again, I'm crossing my fingers. Completely experimental. Okay. So let's see. Again, this is going to be very wide because I'm gonna paint over it. Now, let's paint over it. All right, I think it's ready for the baking soda. I'm just going to do this for one of each size for this color. Just enough to use all the colors that I have in my little bowl. I'm gonna let this one dry. Okay, all right, let's do the same for the 6 centimeters. Maybe if I just do straight of this though, would be best because it has a line in the middle. So let's change the design on this one. And you don't have to do only one color. If you have this, I was thinking I can have one color here or a color there. It just depends what you want. It's up for your imagination. And now I'm going to use the 10 centimeter bubble. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, but you can move the tape around. good thing is this is a very budget friendly activities that you can do for girl nights out, craft time with your girlfriends, kids, or if you just want to spend some time making decorations for your home. This is a good way of doing that. See, I touched it right there, so it leaves some dents. So just need to be very careful. All right, so let's see how this is going to turn out. Okay, I'm going to gently put it away so it can dry. Okay, and let's see how it dries. And while those are drying, I'm gonna go ahead and paint the other bubbles. All right, the moment of truth. I have some bubbles I have tried, and I put a mat here, so if the bicarbonate spreads, then I can just grab the mat and place it into my container. And all right, so let's see how they turned out. So here is the vanilla color. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to just rub it around very gently and let the baking soda fall into and now I'm gonna have a dry brush and just gonna brush it off as much as I can, and you will see how it starts to turn into different color. Now I'm just gonna put the little cap back on. There we go. And you can see it shining a little bit. So this is how all your bubbles are going to look like. Very velvety and very nice and simple. So let's go into the bigger one. This is the one with the tape. Remember we added tape or the what's it called, masking tape to make a shape to have a different design of a velvety design for your bubble. And let's see how this one turned out. Let's start peeling off this tape. Next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave off of the masking tape all the way to the top so it'll be easier to peel it off. These little bleeds right there. All you can do is just scrape it out. Scrape a little bit more of a curve, and then wherever there's a bleed, I'm scraping it a little bit more to define the lines a little bit better. Now, what I found out about doing this is that you can see that it's transparent. So I will recommend that whenever you tape it, to put a prime coating like white acrylic paint first. Let it dry and then go over with the color paint that you want. So it won't be as transparent because the light goes through the bauble and then you can see a little bit of the transparency on the baubles. But it's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal, but if you really want it to pop and not be transparent or translucent, then you can do a prime coating first and then the paint color. So let me know if you want to give this a try, because I just winged it. And use a toothpick to help you scrape in the areas that are hard to reach. So what do you think? Wow, I love it. This is so nice. And I'm gonna put out the top part of this. Stretch it a little bit. And again, you want to be careful because you don't want to scrape the pretty design. So here it is. This is what it looks like when it's completely painted, and this is what it looks like when it is with the masking tape and make shapes. You can also maybe try carving different shapes in this or all covered bubble and see what you come up with. I mean, this is just experimentation, and yeah. So, you guys, I hope you like it, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any other things that you would like to learn. And I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and I hope you give these a try. Thank you so much.